In a quiet Indiana town, the afternoon felt ordinary and safe. Trails cut through bare trees, and neighbors trusted familiar faces. No one imagined that a simple walk would fracture that calm. When two teenagers failed to return, confusion replaced routine, and whispers spread faster than answers. Phones rang, parents waited, sunlight faded. What began as a normal day slowly turned into a question that would haunt Delphi for years, forcing a community to confront how quickly innocence can vanish without warning. It was only the beginning for everyone involved. Abigail Williams and Liberty German were typical middle school friends, energetic, curious, and deeply loved by their families. They laughed easily, shared secrets, and planned small adventures the way kids do. On a mild February day, they visited the Monon High Bridge Trail, a familiar spot locals considered harmless. The trip was brief and unremarkable, meant to fill an afternoon before returning home. Nothing about the plan suggested danger, and nothing prepared their families for how quickly that ordinary outing would become a permanent loss. Photos taken that day would later become haunting reminders of who they were and why their story mattered to millions who followed the case worldwide. That afternoon, the girls were dropped off near the trail entrance shortly after 1:30. They crossed the bridge, took photos, and moved deeper into the area. A short video recorded on a phone would later become critical evidence. When the agreed pickup time passed and calls went unanswered, concern grew. Family members searched the trails themselves as daylight slipped away. By evening, worry turned to fear, and authorities were notified, marking the moment a missing persons case began. Search teams organized quickly, while volunteers gathered, hoping the girls were nearby and simply lost. Helicopters, dogs, and flashlights combed the area through the cold night, with every hour increasing urgency and dread for families waiting at home without answers yet. The next day, searchers made a devastating discovery not far from the trail. The missing girls were found deceased, confirming the community's worst fears. Details were limited, as investigators protected the integrity of the case. Shock rippled through Delphi, closing schools and filling churches. A place once known for quiet routines was now defined by loss. Residents grieved collectively, struggling to understand how such violence could reach their town and take two young lives so suddenly. Memorials appeared along streets, and messages of support arrived from across the country, as investigators asked for patience and cooperation while they pursued leads behind the scenes with careful restraint during early stages only. Law enforcement launched a complex investigation, balancing public transparency with investigative necessity. They released a short audio clip and images taken from the victim's phone, asking for help identifying a man seen on the bridge. Multiple suspect sketches were shared over time, reflecting evolving leads. Tips poured in from around the world, while detectives re-examined evidence repeatedly. The case drew national attention, highlighting both the power and limits of crowdsourced information. Years passed with few answers, but officials insisted the investigation never stopped. Community pressure remained intense, and families pushed for accountability and justice. Behind closed doors, analysts compared timelines, revisited interviews, and tested forensic advances. Each public update was carefully worded, revealing progress without compromising future prosecution. The silence between announcements fueled frustration, speculation, and renewed determination to solve the crime responsibly while protecting the integrity of evidence for eventual court proceedings and the victims' families above all always. In October 2022, authorities announced an arrest, charging a local man in connection with the murders. Court filings outlined preliminary allegations, while investigators cautioned that the legal process was ongoing. The news brought measured relief, tempered by the understanding that justice unfolds slowly. As hearings proceeded, many questions remained, and the case continued to demand patience, accuracy, and respect for due process from everyone following the proceedings closely as facts were tested in court over time and scrutiny. Delphi will always remember the day its sense of safety changed. The case stands as a reminder of fragility, resilience, and the responsibility to protect the innocent, while honoring two lives whose absence continues to shape a community forever remembered.